Hello everybody! I hope you're doing really well always. So I'm going to do a pick a card reading for everyone, and yeah, I just feel really called to channel this morning and do basically a what do you need to know from your guides and from spirit, and spirit's just like, yep, this is what needs to come through. So this is what we're doing. I am a little bit sleep deprived, just in case my energy is like doop bloop. I am probably going to be able to channel very well though, because I'm very like almost in another dimension already. So the other thing I just need to say at the start of my videos, go check out Source Code's my Patreon if you're interested in going deeper into my work. I have actually some tarot readings now. Each group turned out to be about 1 hour long for every pick a card reading I've done for Source Codes almost. So yeah, and we've also been doing a lot of light language activations, energetic upgrades, and community calls, and much more. So go check it out. The link's in the description if you're interested. And I will tell you now, I will show you now the groups to choose from. Okay, so group number 1 is Fox Spirit, Leo Shumu, group number 2 is Skunk Spirit, Doya Tailei Shamotos. There we go. And group number 3 is Badger Spirit, Be Fearless and Bold. Oh, I don't know if I said the things for the other ones. Oh well. Yetola Shamotos. Doichama. It won't focus. Go in front of me then. There we go. So as you can see, all of the animals that has come through as guides are all very much like land dwelling animals, which I think is interesting because I feel we're being asked to ground our energy as a collective. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with group number 1 now. Cool, group number 1. I'm already getting messages from, oh my god, you guys. Oh my god. Okay, we got the right card now. Group number 1. Getting messages for you guys about, I feel like your psychic gifts are improving and enhancing. I feel like you're going to be able to be more reliant upon your spontaneous channel. So what I mean by is like you won't have any idea what you're about to say or channel or write or speak or perform, but it's going to come like directly through you from source. So it's going to be a pure channel, and this is going to really make your psychic abilities, but your creative output is going to be very divine, and many miracles are going to come from this. The more that you trust in the spontaneous energy of your channel, the more that your creativity will start to kind of explode. And I also see you being very creative in many different areas, which you probably already are. Like you're probably good at drawing and singing and dancing, and you know, it doesn't have to be those things, but cooking. But you're multi-talented, you know, like really good at many different things. And Spirit's saying you really need change and diversity. You need to be able to flow in your life and kind of be able to like take off quick, you know. So having too many things that really weigh you down or too many responsibilities isn't always how your energy likes to like thrive. Your energy likes a lot of freedom, a lot of independence, as well as the ability to connect when that time comes. I also see you ending a cycle. It could be quite a big end, like you might be moving to a different location, you know, moving house, or it could be that you're ending a job, or you're ending, but it's like inherent in this ending is a new beginning. So it's not really an end so much as it's a new beginning for you. I also see your ability to see, as in clairvoyance, again, psychic gifts, messages is coming through a lot for you. Like a lot of these, what Spirit wants you to know is that your intuition is excelling, and your ability to read people and read situations and read energy is really becoming like crystal clear and on point, and your intuition is really serving you at this time. So if you have had some kind of an intuitive message from deep within yourself, or from your guides, or synchronicities within the universe, then Spirit is really trying to tell you something, and Spirit is asking you to essentially receive your intuition and whatever your intuition is telling you, because it might mean that you have to change directions, or it might be that you need to see the truth about something. Okay, and Fox Spirit as well. Oh my god, we just had a huge magpie fly. As soon as I was thinking, there's a little spirit messenger up there in that tree. Yeah, there is a potential for some kind of deception with fox energy, and it's not necessarily like, sometimes I see that more as like strategy, like you need to be strategic about, you know, how you show your cards in this situation, or you need to like hold back information at it for a bit before things have fallen into place, or you need to like, you know, not tell someone your idea so they don't steal it. It's something like this, to do with being a little bit strategic, and also being aware that other people around you may be doing the same. We're going to go deeper into that. Where are we? Here. Okay, so Spirit, what would you like Group 1 to know? What would you like them to know? Let me get some water, actually. Alright, Group number 1. What would you like them to know, Spirit? The Eight of Wands. Okay, so this is saying that things are going to be speeding up for you if they haven't already. So you're going to have to think on your feet. Like, I'm seeing opportunities coming in quick. Like, I'm seeing flying, actually. So you might be flying in an airplane really soon. And it's going to bring you a lot of excitement and joy. It's going to be something like you either wanted for a long time, or it's like the answer to a prayer of yours that you might not have realized it would be answered in the certain way that it's going to be answered. And Spirit's really excited to surprise you, so Spirit doesn't want me to share too much information, because certain things are best kept hidden so that you receive it with the full amount of joy at the time that it comes through. But I do see change, I see travel, I see movement, I see flying. I see you literally flying. I don't know if this is going... Okay, so for some people it's you are going to go into an airplane really soon, or that's something you don't see coming, and Spirit's like telling you to get ready. Maybe renew your passport. For some of you guys, I'm seeing this. It might be international travel that you don't expect, or an opportunity coming through, and Spirit's saying, hey, probably good idea to, you know, be able to be in a position to say yes to these opportunities that in a way you have been asking for through your prayer and through your intention and through your work that you've been doing on yourself and your own growth. But Spirit's saying there's an element of surprise in here. You probably didn't see all of how it was going to come through. And it could be that something has to end. Like, this is what I mean with there might be an ending inherent in this new beginning. You might have to, you know, end a job in order to say yes to a new job opportunity. You know what I'm trying to say? You might have to end a lease so you can take on, you know, the dream house of yours lease. This is what I'm getting. Okay, Spirit, so what else would you like Group 1 to know, please? Thank you. Okay, so with Temperance, I'm getting that you've been on a spiritual journey for a long time. You've been on a spiritual path for a long time. And Spirit's saying essentially like there's something that's about to come into fruition for you. And you might have been so used to just waiting for things to come that when it actually arrives, you might be a bit like, oh, it's here already? oh, and Spirit's saying, but basically Spirit wants you to know that you are ready for it, because there might be a little bit of a fear that comes in. It's actually a beautiful message, you guys, because what I'm getting is that there's something you've been really wanting and holding in your heart for a long time that you really want. And you might have thought that it would be years and years away, you know, this kind of thing of like a long-term goal or a big goal that, you know, would take a lot of money, or it would take a lot of effort, or it would take a lot of collaboration with different kind of people or players, moving parts coming together and creating something as a whole. And I'm actually seeing that it's going to be coming in a lot quicker for you than you thought. And even if this is a new, fresh idea, Spirit's saying, yeah, but you've been on this spiritual path for such a long time that you've already done the training. You know, you've already like gone through the training ground. So you're actually more ready to receive this than you might think you are. And Spirit's saying sometimes when we are dreaming, you know, we're dreaming our big dreams of our heart's desire. Sometimes we think it's so far in the future, you know, we're like, oh, that's not going to happen for another several years, or, you know. And sometimes, you know, with divine timing, it just is ready and it's time. And even if you might not feel ready, this is Spirit's message for you. Even if you might not feel ready, Spirit's saying you definitely are ready. And Spirit will not give you something that you can't handle, basically. But with the Seven of Cups here in this spread, it does seem like you don't see this coming, or it's a big old surprise. And again, I'm not going to say too much because Spirit wants to keep an element of surprise here for you guys, because Spirit thinks that you will enjoy this a lot. So Spirit wants you, like, Spirit is excited to see your reaction basically when this thing comes in, and it's going to be really beautiful, guys. But I just see that you might be changing direction unexpectedly, okay? And Spirit is asking you with the Two of Pentacles, don't get too caught up on like one thing. Like, I have to finish this thing, or I have to finish this project, or I can't say yes to this, you know, perfect dream job because I, you know, haven't finished this report. And Spirit's like, it's okay. You know, there's something you're being gifted here with the Temperance card is like something of grace. Like there's a spiritual grace that you're being gifted. And that means that even if you feel like you're tired, the mirror screen gets me so much, guys. Even if you think you're being tied down to something, or you've got like a lot of commitments or responsibilities, Spirit's saying like it's kind of a bit of an illusion, okay? It's kind of a bit of an illusion, and nothing can keep you from your soul path. Nothing can keep you from the manifestation of your true heart's desire, because it's your purpose and it's the reason for you are here. So there's something you might have to let go of in order to receive, and you might have to do a bit of a pivot and almost do like a 180 turn. But Spirit's saying it's going to be very positive. It's something you want. And even if it's not a huge move, like an overseas move or a huge job change or whatever, it's going to change you. You know, it's going to change something about you. It's going to change how you see the world and how you see yourself. Okay, interesting. It's going to change like your self-image, I'm getting. And your self-image is going to improve because of this opportunity. And anything that you have like still stuck in your psyche, essentially, from your past that says something like, you know, oh, I could never perform on stage in front of thousands of people. It's like that kind of limitation is going to be falling away. But you might not feel, okay, so sometimes we think when we're dreaming of things, we're like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to be so, you know, ready for this thing when it comes in, ready for my soulmate, ready for my future spouse, ready for my dream job, ready for this opportunity, you know, ready. And a lot of the time we are ready, but we might not fully feel like we are. You know, we might still have that voice that's like, I'm not good enough. What if everyone, you know, what if I fail? What if it's all a huge mistake? What if I've left this whole thing behind and it turns into nothing and I'm, you know, embarrassed and humiliated? But Spirit is like, just because you don't feel 100% ready is not a sign that you aren't. It's really just a sign that you're about to step into a new version of yourself. And that process of, you know, changing the self-image through changing your results, like that's the interesting thing I'm getting, is that you're going to be changing your results. So it's like You're going to be suddenly working at this new job and suddenly having all these things that you thought was going to take so long. Therefore, your perception of yourself will change, and you'll start to see yourself as like, oh, I am really powerful, or I do deserve to be treated like this, or my wisdom is, important, or what I have to say does matter. And so what it's going to do is offer you like a really deep soul healing. I'm actually getting like at the level of your soul is going to be healing, because you have been able to kind of make this leap forward on your path, this evolutionary leap. And it's going to be a whole new perspective. Okay, so what I'm getting is this image of like, someone who's like a rock climber, and they're climbing a big cliff kind of thing, and it takes a long time and it's hard work. But then it gets to the point where there's, it's like between them and the top of the cliff, and they can kind of lift themselves up and see they've like reached the end. And then they climb up onto the top of the cliff and they look down at where they've come, and they've got a totally different perspective because they're right at the top now, and they started at the bottom and now they're at the top. And so they can see everything differently, and they might even have a different self-perception because they can be like, wow, I just did that. I can do that. I can climb this. So what I'm seeing is this culmination for you is like, you've been climbing some cliff. You've been working hard. You've been, working out. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a workout, and then you're going to have this beautiful moment really soon of like lifting yourself up and looking out across the landscape, and seeing the beauty and seeing things from a different perspective. And it's going to give you a lot of confidence in your ability to manifest, in your worthiness of receiving, amazing, incredible things. And yeah, there's an ending here, okay? But it's the ending of, honestly, a period of struggle. And I don't think that there's, depending on, your perception of things, and also just depending on certain circumstances, like for some of you guys, it might have been an enjoyable period, because if you think about a rock climber, well, it's hard work, but they're doing it because they love it. They wanted to climb that cliff. They wanted to get to the top. They chose to do that. So for you, it does feel more like maybe this has just been a cycle of hard work that you have willingly and wanted to participate in. You've wanted to climb that cliff. You've wanted to get to the next stage of your embodiment, of your awareness, of your gifts, of your ability to be a leader, of all these things. And it's all coming in for you. And sooner than you might have thought, like, I'm just getting this thing where you thought, oh, I'm going to have to train for another 5 years before I can do this thing. And then you realize you've always been able to do it, And this is the perception shift that Spirit's sort of bringing through. What else would you like, group 1 to know, Spirit? Okay, 8 of Swords. Okay, so Spirit's saying, yeah, you might still, again, feel like, okay, Spirit's saying you can't see yourself properly. Do you see in this card how this girl is all wrapped up and she's got blindfold on? So this is how Spirit thinks you see yourself right now. Not very well, not very clearly. In fact, you don't see yourself hardly at all. So, Spirit's saying you kind of have to trust. You kind of have to have faith, because Spirit's saying Spirit sees you. Spirit sees how amazing you are. Spirit sees every choice you've ever made, and everything you've ever thought, and every thing you've ever spoken out loud, and every prayer you've ever had, and, every intention you've ever made, and every desire you've ever felt. Spirit knows you. Spirit knows you. So Spirit's not going to give you something, it's just like physically impossible. It's like physically impossible for you to manifest something that you're not ready for. It is impossible, because law of attraction means that you are in the resonance of that thing. So you are that thing. You're a vibrational match to that thing you're desiring. So Spirit's saying, like, really what Spirit wants you to know is that you aren't seeing yourself clearly, and you need to have faith that you are good enough. And you need to let the universe surprise you a little bit, okay? Because Spirit's saying, like, more work and more trying to perfect yourself is not going to change this 8 of Swords energy. This 8 of Swords energy is like, it's like being in denial, basically. This 8 of Swords is like being in denial. It's like, It's like if I was saying to you guys, no guys, I don't have brown hair. I don't have dark brown hair. No, I don't. And everyone's like, yeah, you do, Bridget. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's my hair's blonde. You know, it's like you're not seeing yourself clearly. It's just not accurate. It's not an accurate perception of truth. And everyone around you can see that you are the shining star and that you are going places, okay? So Spirit is saying, look, for you to be released from this energy of self-denial, because it's not other people around you denying you. Like, sometimes they might reflect to you certain things about yourself, but I think largely it's you not seeing yourself clearly when Spirit has wanted to pass through so many messages of how amazing you are, but it's hard for you to receive that sometimes. So what Spirit's saying though is that the answer to this is actually that you're going to be kind of elevated into a new level of being, like a new phase. Like, again, I keep seeing this like leg up. It's like a step up from where you are right now. It's like a new perspective, a new vantage point. And in doing that, your self-image is going to be able to change, and you're going to have cracks coming into that unworthiness story and that I'm not good enough story, and you're going to start just realizing that you're already on the path, you're already doing it, you're already there. And I think the most beautiful part of all of it is that you're going to be able to receive yourself. You're going to be able to receive yourself for the incredible human being that you are and that you've always been. What else would you like group 1 to know, Spirit? The Fool. New beginning. A really fulfilling new beginning, okay? And Spirit needs you to know that it's fulfilling, that it's going to bring to you new people, new places, new opportunities, new friendships, new connections, new relationships of all kinds, like soul family I'm seeing. And yet the old paradigm in your head, this old stuff in your head is potentially going to be making you feel very afraid, because the 8 of Swords can talk a lot about us being quite afraid of our own potential, of our own power, of, not people pleasing, or just general fear, like, oh my gosh, if I get to the top of the cliff, I'm just gonna fall down, And Spirit's like, no, you've climbed there, you're not going to fall off something you've really worked for. You've laid the foundation, you've built the tower up, right? Instead of just like jumping right to the top, you've built it from the ground up on solid foundation. So this new beginning is warranted. This new beginning is aligned. This new beginning is meant to be. So I guess it's a perspective shift. Spirit's saying it's a perception shift. Can you shift from seeing yourself as, oh, I'm not good enough, what if I fail, what if this is the worst thing, I'm given all this responsibility and this new job, what if I, mess it up? But Spirit's saying, yeah, but what if you fly, right? It's this thing, the fool's about to jump off this cliff. So many cliff themes in our reading. Look at this, the fool's about to jump off this cliff. And you might inside your head be like, oh my God, what if I fall? And Spirit's like, yeah, but what if you fly? What if you fly? Yeah? Interesting. Kutolama. Spirit, what else would you like group 1 to know? Thank you. Aww. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Full moon in Capricorn. Yeah, and I see again, it's like an ending and a new beginning all at once, because I see something like being illuminated. It's like this illumination energy. The end of a tough cycle approaches. It's like the path will appear. You'll be able to see, oh, this is where it was leading to this whole time. Of course, it makes so much sense. But there's also a real change of pace coming in for you, where it used to be really hard work. Like, remember the metaphor of if you're climbing a cliff like a rock climber, It used to be really hard work, but then there's a real shift. It's like you shift gears, because at the top of the cliff, now you don't have to climb anymore. You can just enjoy the view. You can change pace. You can rest a little bit, and then you can, like, you know, walk down the nice path at the back of the cliff that all the rock climbers walk down. It's Spirit wants you to know, if you're still at those last few steps, you're almost there, really. Clearing a box of truth and light parenting spirit. What else? A fiery climax approaches. Another full moon. Okay. Let's go ahead and clarify with one other oracle deck, though. Good shita. Alright. Oh my goodness me. Okay. What have we got? Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. Yeah, Spirit's been orchestrating this for you. And Spirit really wants you to know to, like, celebrate yourself if something like this comes in, instead of doubting yourself. Like, take it as evidence that you are worthy, that you are ready, instead of being like, oh my God, it's come in and I'm not ready and I'm not worthy. Okay, now the second card that's come out, boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Let us go into that then. Spirit, can you go into the boundaries card? Thank you. Okay, there's someone that you feel has power over you, and it might be subconscious. You don't consciously think that, but subconsciously you're like, I don't want to let this person down. I don't want them to judge me, or even like this person is like envious of you and doesn't want you to succeed for some reason, and you might be prone to subconsciously sabotaging yourself in order to please this person. But we've got back of the deck Emperor, so there's someone that you feel has some kind of authority over you, whether it's conscious or subconscious, whether that's real or imagined, okay? But Spirit has come in to say, hey, you got to have some boundaries with this person because you're going places, and for some reason I just get this really shady energy from this person. They don't want you to go places. They want you to stay small where you can be controlled. And I see you moving through so much energy of like self-doubt and like not trusting yourself, or not like believing in yourself to this point where you finally can. And then maybe this person tries to like, I don't know, guilt you or shame you or something, and then you get really triggered. So Spirit wants you to know in advance that anyone who's like acting like this, trying to have control over you, even if you think like, oh, maybe it's my fault because I just, no. Spirit's saying there's a shady energy to them. It's really shady. Even if it's someone you love dearly, it doesn't mean you have to let them have control or even influence over you. Because I see with boundaries, Spirit's like, you need to put out boundaries because you are raising in your vibration, and that means that your reality is going to change, you know, and your wisdom is going to change and your gifts are going to change. So it might be that you have to like see the truth about this person in order to sort of set yourself free, in order to, yeah, and that's right. The message coming through at the beginning with Fox Spirit was like, you might need to act strategically. Maybe don't like tell everyone your plans right away, or, you know, if you're feeling extra vulnerable, maybe don't tell this person's, you know, that you're feeling unsure about it or something like that. Because I just see this person, they are manipulative, they are deceptive, and they are playing a role in your life right now where they're going to try to pull you back and almost sabotage your success. But Spirit's saying it's just a role that they're playing, because I feel it's almost been destined for you to like stand up to this person and like take your power back, and to be basically recognize them for who they are, and be like, you know what, I'm not doing this for you anymore. I'm not playing this game with you anymore. I'm not giving you my power anymore. I'm not letting you put these doubts into my head anymore. I'm not, letting you put me down anymore, disrespect me anymore. And Spirit's saying like, the time has come for you to stand up for yourself against this person. and to recognize that they are a bad influence on you, essentially, because they energy drain you. They get inside your head where you feel confused, you feel not confident, or you feel unworthy, or you feel guilty or shame about something, and they are just like trying to pull these strings, like being like a puppet master, and just be like, yeah, now feel guilt, now feel unworthiness, now feel shame. And it's just like so intense, the energy manipulation that's going on. And Spirit's really asking you to like reclaim your power, because Spirit's been watching. You've got helpers in the subtle realm. Spirit's been watching this happen, and Spirit's saying it's time that it comes to an end. Okay, it's time that you essentially take your power back from this person or this situation, or both. And I also see that this person has a lot of other people on their side, okay, and that might make it harder to stand up for your own side of things, because it might be in a workplace or something, and it's the boss who's really tyrannical, and then they've got like, you know, all these employers who are just like sucking up to them and trying to be in their good books, and will just throw you under the bus anytime they can. But Spirit is saying like these people are a reflection of your old version of yourself. It's a reflection of how you used to allow yourself to be treated, and now you are moving forward, you're moving onwards and upwards, and Spirit is assisting you to free yourself from these influences in your life. And Spirit is really almost demanding that you have boundaries, and that you need to establish better boundaries, it says. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Well, I'll tell you where. It's with one or a group of people that are disrespecting you, and that, you know, you really need to like cut cords or cut ties with them in order for your frequency to be like set free, so you can like rise up at this time, because whatever they're doing is getting to you. Okay, so even if it's just energetic boundaries, so that even if they have, you know, some perception of you that you're just, I don't know, whatever negative thing they are thinking or saying about you behind your back, like you don't have to take that on. You know, you can pray for these people and pray that they find peace and love within themselves, so that they don't feel the need to be so hostile, you know, towards others. But ultimately, Spirit's saying like the biggest thing is you have to take your power back from these people. So from whoever it is, it could even be family with the moon, okay? Moon card can definitely talk about family members, okay? But, and with the moon as well, it's been harder for you to be able to witness how they have impacted you, because you have essentially been used to this way of being treated, okay? So whoever it is and however they're treating you, there's an element of familiarity there. There's an element of, oh yeah, the way you're treating me, you know, fits right in with my trauma, right? So it's like you don't even notice. It's like a perfect fit. But Spirit's saying like, we're changing your fit. If you are a puzzle piece, you know, we're changing your shape so that you now don't fit in with these people anymore. You now fit in with a new kind of people, the kind of people who support you and love you, the kind of people who cherish you and uplift you. And you're not going to be able to be a fit or a match to these other people who were honestly cursing you behind your back. Like, people don't realize how what we say really matters. And if we're talking ill about someone behind their back, that is the equivalent of like sending them a curse. You know, it's not black magic at the same level, but you're basically cursing them, you know. And it's look, be very careful with what you say. I'm not saying necessarily you're saying anything bad, but I just mean, yeah, there are certain energies, and you might not even realize how much has been impacting you. And if you are feeling sometimes like so guilty and so this thing, like, it's probably because you need to clear their aura of these people's energetic projections onto you. You need to clear your aura through a bath or a shower, through like essential oils, through smoke, like sage. I have this essential oil spray that has different essential oils in it. It's like an aura spray, and it really clears the energy. So So group 1, let's see what Spirit's final advice is for you right now, because this is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but this is big stuff, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Spirit, what would your final advice be to group 1 as we're sort of getting to the end of their reading? Thank you. It says play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. Okay, so what I'm getting from this as well is that, like, this is your natural state of being, as someone who's very playful and joyful and loving and lighthearted and innocent, and yeah. And so if you start to get into a very dense and low frequency of feeling guilt or shame, or feeling like, you know, oh my God, I'm the worst person in the world, or I'm not good enough for this, or whatever, then Spirit's saying, like, you have departed from the truth of who you are. So it's time to come home to it, you know? And if you're feeling really like playful and happy, this is when you're really in touch with like your inner truth. This is when you're in union with yourself and you're really at home in your own energies. And Spirit's saying, like, you're really basically mastering this ability to basically be at home in your own energies, even if other people are projecting different things onto you or saying that you're doing this or that. Like, you are going to, if you're not already, you're going to be so aligned with your connection to source and spirit that other people's opinions, like, they truly won't get to you, because they don't have the connection that you have. So how could they have how can they have opinions over it? Do you know what I mean? Because they don't know what Spirit's told you. They don't know what your connection with Spirit is. So yeah, that's what I see really coming in for you guys. And in the meantime, take good care, group 1. Special souls, and yeah, I'll see you for the next reading. Bye. Okay, hi group number 2, skunk spirit. Know your worth. Interesting. I feel like you might be about to be elevated into some kind of a public position, or you might need to get sort of used to a role more as a leader, or some kind of a role where you have a lot more responsibility than you might have had previously. And Spirit wants you to know that you are definitely like worthy of this role or worthy of this title or whatever, and that you are like good at whatever it is that you're kind of being asked to do right now, or whatever thing you're meant to be like leading or doing. Spirit just wants you to know that you are enough, and that sort of like the world in a way like needs you to share your creativity or share your innate talents with the world, because it's really going to assist the new earth shift and the new earth frequency. And the more that you feel able to embody the truth of who you are, the more that like others are really set free in that process. I also see you as someone who's actually very beautiful, and that was loud. Okay, we're just gonna go in now. Group 2 Spirit, what would you like them to know? Receptivity, allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others. Touché pour toi. Exactly. So Spirit saying you are good enough. You are good enough. And you need to, it's almost like this energy of know your worth. It's almost like you need to know that you are worthy of like charging for your art, or, you know, that you're worthy of like having people like come to your art show or your exhibition or something. Because there's just this sense right now where, and do you know what the message is though? It's that it's almost like it's because you are so amazing that you find it hard to receive yourself. It's almost like because you are so talented or so beautiful, you know, or so remarkable, so magnetic, so good at speaking, so good at leading, whatever. It's almost like because of that you find it so hard to receive it. You know how people say, we might think that we're afraid of failure, but really we're afraid of success. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm getting for you guys. Like a fear of success, a fear of actually allowing yourself to shine and be freaking amazing, being an actual star. That's how bright you are. But there's a fear of letting that be known and letting that be seen. And I think it always comes from early childhood conditioning. I don't know how many times I've come to this in a reading where I'm just like, oh yeah, and here it is, the subconscious programming. But look, I feel you grew up in a family, you might be super aware of this, you might be not that aware of this. You grew up in a family where you were not allowed to be super bright, super amazing, super powerful, super beautiful, because I'm seeing, for whatever reason, that you were kind of socialized to like dim your light to fit in. You were socialized to not speak up. Don't tell the truth here, or don't stand out. Don't be so beautiful. Don't be this. And I'm not sure exactly, like for everyone, of course, where it came from, but I see that you grew up in this way where you just learned to like give. You learned that like it wasn't about you, things aren't about you, and it's almost like this very upside down sense of humility, because being humble is like a beautiful thing. It is, but there's something gone off in your psyche. It's not humility anymore. It's like self-deprecation. It's not being humble. It's like undermining or underestimating yourself. Do you see what I mean? And it's like maybe you were socialized. What I'm getting is that it started really young, so it might be quite confusing for you why this started to be. But it's like, I see it very young, you were like socialized to be less than what you are. Like you were basically given messages overt and covert ways of like dim your light, and don't shine too bright. You don't want to stand above us. Like who do you think you are, standing tall amongst us who are all short, It's that kind of energy. And so you kind of like pretended like, okay, I'm just the same height as everyone else, try to like even tried to make yourself smaller, whether that's through cutting off your needs or even wanting to be very small or thin or something. And Spirit's just like, this is really a response to, the childhood environment that you grew up in that really tried to tell you like you need to be humble, but really that was not humility. What they were telling you to do was not humility. It was it was the opposite of that. It was it's not humility. And yeah, what else would you like group 2 to know? Sorry guys, I haven't had as much sleep as I usually get, so I'm a little bit more spacey. Group 2. Oh man. I feel like Spirit's saying you need to have boundaries and like hold your energy back from certain people in your life right now. And Spirit's saying you have been strong for too long. You have been strong for too long. You have been strong for too long. 3 times that came out. Yeah, because you're just used to putting up with toxic people and toxic environments because you grew up in that. But Spirit's saying Spirit does not want you to use your strength to put up with toxicity. Spirit wants you to use this strength you have funded to actually leave the toxicity. Do you see the difference? It's like you are... Sorry, I think there might be someone coming to the front door, so I just need to quickly... Okay, we're back. Group 2. Hello. Okay, so... Yeah, so with receptivity, Spirit is definitely asking you to allow yourself to receive instead of always being the one to give all the time, essentially. So that's what I'm getting in your energy, is that you are this like incredible soul who doesn't know their worth. And unfortunately, in this world, there are so many people who prey upon those like sweet and beautiful people who don't fully understand how incredibly beautiful that they are. You know, there's so many people that are like predatory on earth at this time due to the duality and the differences in the frequencies and stuff. And Spirit's saying like, no more. You know, it's time to like demand respect. Allow yourself to receive the same kind of treatment that you so graciously give others. Because, sorry, my chair's so noisy, it makes me laugh. So noisy. Because Spirit's essentially saying with the Nine of Wands, you need to have boundaries with certain people, because these people are like Four of Pentacles, meaning they're like stingy with you, but you're not stingy with them. And it's this real unequal exchange of energy. And I'm seeing energy vampires, and I'm seeing you really feeling like you give and you give and you give and you give, and then you give more without even knowing that you're giving, because you're giving energy as well as compassion and time and help and assistance and, you know, so much on every level you're giving. And Spirit is like, holy shit, please stop this now, because you have become so strong. It's like muscle. You've built so much muscle, you know, energetically on giving. And Spirit's like, now it's time to build the muscle of receiving, because you probably don't even know how to receive very well, because you haven't ever really been much in the receiving side of things. You've been in the giving side of things pretty much in every kind of way. And I'm seeing as well with strength, it's like certain people's egos, you know, you got to see through the grandiosity, okay, into the truth of this person. And the truth of this person is that like they're an energy vampire and they're just taking from you. Okay, so with allow yourself to receive and know your worth, it's like you are so worthy of reciprocal love. And I mean, every single person is worthy of reciprocal love, hello. But it's just like, you need to like even just allow yourself to receive that. Yeah, it says allow yourself to receive on this receptivity card. Allow yourself to receive. Spirit's like, you are in this strength energy so much where you're like, I'm strong, I can do this, I'm strong. And Spirit's like, no, allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive. And there needs to be a rebalancing of your own energy. And if certain people don't like that you're going to take more time for yourself and not give as much, then they were never going to be giving back to you anyway. Like what you need, especially you, because you're a beautiful, kind human, I'm getting, you need people who will give back to you in the same amount that you give to them. And it's not like transactional, like, okay, you gave me 30 minutes, so I'll give you, you know, like, no. But it's just about how it feels long term, how it feels over the long term. And sometimes with energy vampires, I have found, you might not feel 100% drained from them immediately, but over time, the difference will become very apparent, you know what I mean? So Spirit is just like wanting you to stand up for yourself and not allow yourself to be taken advantage of anymore or manipulated, and not allow yourself to fall into any self-sacrificing energies or tendencies where you're like, I can handle it, I'm strong enough, I can take on, you know, the extra time at work, and I can take on, you know, so-and-so's babysitting duty, and I can take on cooking dinner tonight, and I can take on, you know, working the early morning shift, and I can take on working the late night shift. It's just like, no, you can't. You just can't. That's too much giving. And Spirit's saying it's like, it's a trauma response, essentially. Sorry to say that, but yeah, it's like a trauma response. And for you to come into balance, which is necessary for all these beautiful dreams that you have that you're here to do, you know, you need to be able to receive and give in equality, and to learn, for some of you guys, it might be that you need to learn what a relationship feels like if two people are giving equally to one another, you know? All right, what would you like group 2 to know, Spirit? What would you like group 2 to know? You're kidding me. kidding me? You are good enough. You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. So I'm also getting a perfectionism energy coming through for you guys. And I understand, I'm a Virgo, okay? I'm a Virgo, I get it. But you have this way of critiquing yourself that you don't do for anyone else. And Spirit is again saying, like, can you allow yourself to receive also your own energy, this beautiful energy that you give to others, where you celebrate and uplift? Can you turn that back onto yourself, really? It's really interesting how clear the messages are for you guys, because it's like pretty much you are good enough, know your worth, allow yourself to receive, have boundaries with people who are energy vampires and who disrespect you. You've been strong for too long in the wrong kind of way. Now it's time to be strong in the right kind of way, where you stand up for yourself and you respect yourself. Spirit, what else would you like Group 2 to know? Seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. I'm just going to get one more before I show them. Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. There's something cool as well. Back of the deck here is Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. You get a very divine feminine energy from you, and it doesn't matter your gender, but I feel, Spirit, there's like, with the feminine energy on earth, there is this natural kind of thing that, like, the masculine often will come in to protect the feminine. And this happens like within us, and it also, sorry, I was just looking out the window. This happens within, and it also happens like sometimes within relationship. And I get this energy from you, and it doesn't matter if you're a man watching this and you're a really masculine man even watching this, it doesn't matter, but there's like this feminine energy in you that needs protecting, and like I have this urge to like protect you, and I'm like, no, I don't want anyone to take advantage of you. You know, it's like that thing when you see someone who's so innocent and pure, and you're just like, you see that there's like some predator trying to like take advantage, and it's that natural instinct to be like, no, this person needs, you know, to be protected, but ultimately we have to learn things for ourselves, so, you know, whatever. But but I just see this energy in you where you, for somewhere deep inside, there's a part of you like that doesn't feel like you are worthy of like protecting yourself. And like ultimately that's what needs to take place, because, you know, we can have people that come into our life who help us to like witness, like to recognize our worth and help us to even protect ourselves and stuff. But what I'm getting is that you need to understand that if you're hurting, you know, that is just as big of a deal as if, you know, someone else is hurting. Do you know what I mean? And I think that you're really, really good at like putting your own needs aside and going and helping other people and going and being there for other people and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. And it's just this continuous cycle of energy pouring out. But energy can pour back in just as easily if you'll allow it to. And the key word here is allowing. It's about allowing that to come back to you. So with Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Yeah, there is this real protective energy that is connected with you in spirit. See this grandmother energy and how she's sort of embracing this whole valley almost. And what Spirit wants you to understand is like, please help me articulate this in the best way possible, Spirit, but like, we might think, you know, oh, well, if I'm not going out and like hurting somebody, you know, that means that I'm not hurting the world. But it's like, but if you're allowing yourself to be hurt, in Spirit's eyes, that is the equivalent of going out and hurting someone, because you're hurting yourself. Do you see what I mean? And so there's really no getting out of these kind of situations. If you're being treated badly, then you have to stand up for yourself. Like, it is just it's like compulsory that you do not allow that to happen. You aren't like, it's not how do I explain this in the best possible way? Like, we might think, oh, we get, it's like that what we do to ourselves is like in isolation somehow, like, oh, I can self-sabotage, or I can, self-harm, and some way of doing that. Sorry, I don't know, that's kind of triggering, but it's like, it doesn't work like that, because we're all connected energetically. So if you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the world. Do you see what I mean? And sometimes we think like, oh, I can self-sabotage and go back to this shitty relationship where they're abusive, and it's like, yeah, you can, but it's not but if you're an empath and you care about others, then think about the pain and suffering that you're bringing to the whole world. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, there seems to be this sort of erroneous belief that like, if you're hurting yourself, then that's not hurting others. And it's like, of course it's hurting others as well. You know what I mean? And that's what Spirit really wants you to know, is that you can't, I feel like you have the tendency where you're like, well, I don't want to go up to this person and confront them and be like, hey, you've been treating me really badly, so I'll just keep my mouth shut and continue to be treated really badly. And Spirit's saying like, well, what's the word? Like, it doesn't work like that, essentially. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because you might think, oh, I don't want to cause someone suffering by confronting or bringing up this issue, or it's so petty and so da-da-da. But it's like, but you're the one suffering then. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I didn't really articulate that in the most eloquent way. But nothing happens in isolation, essentially, is what Spirit's trying to say. Nothing happens in isolation. And especially if you've been intuitively feeling like, hey, this person really doesn't... Are you serious? The whole flippin' deck just flipped out. Are you flippin' serious? God. Alright. Let us... No, why? Spirit, what are you trying to say to group 2 with all of this deck falling everywhere? What are you trying to say, Spirit? Spirit, just use your words. Inner wisdom, you know what to do. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Spirit's like, if you've been having intuitions, that's been Spirit talking to you, like plain and simple. So if you've got, it says Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. I think you've had this intuition like, you know what? Maybe I can't continue down this path. Maybe this person isn't so good for me. Maybe this thing. And Spirit's like, yes, 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 yes. You know what to do. You know, deep inside of yourself, you already know, and you're not trusting that. You're not trusting that. Yeah, because you're perceiving that if you made that choice, that someone else would suffer. But Spirit's like, if you do not make that choice, then you will suffer. And all we really have, we can't control how other people react to our choices. Even if we try to make the choice that we think the other person won't suffer from, oftentimes, because we're not choosing what's aligned to us from source, if we do not choose what's aligned to us from source, then we will cause more suffering than like a temporary, hey, sorry, I have to break up with you, it's not working out, rather than, oh, I'm just going to sacrifice myself and stay with this person who's completely abusive. It's like, what? This is what Spirit wants you to see, is like how this kind of thinking is really based on trauma. It's based on growing up in an environment where this was basically what you had to do. You had to somehow like make some mental gymnastics to like be able to survive, basically being made to feel like you weren't good enough. And all of that is changing. Spirit, let's get some positive energy flowing through here. Thank you very much. What is the beautiful blessings coming in for group 2, Spirit? Okay, The beautiful blessings coming in for group 2 is that you're going to be listening to your intuition, the High Priestess. You're going to be listening to that intuitive voice that's like, you know what, I think that this person, right? And you're going to actually set boundaries and face the consequences. Face potentially having someone come against you. Face having someone say, I don't like this boundary. I don't like what you've said. I don't like what you've done. Trying to manipulate you. But you know what? You're going to be able to see through it. This is what's coming in for you, and it's a beautiful blessing. You're going to be able to see through whoever this person is that you've been wondering about. And it's like, if you just say one thing to them that isn't you 100%, rolling over for them, being like submissive to them, then they're going to just like instantly show themselves to be who they really are, instantly. And if you just put up one reasonable boundary, well, they're going to flip out on you. And there you go. There's your evidence that you were right all along, that what you thought about this person was true, and that you were truly just walking on eggshells trying to keep them happy. But for what reason? So the beautiful blessing coming in for you is your ability to like listen to your intuition, put up boundaries, say no, take your power back, and deal with it. Even if there is some conflict, even if someone doesn't like it with the 5 of Swords, it's like, look, this Queen of Swords is like on her throne, and she's like, okay, come see me, I'll fight you then. Like the Queen of Swords isn't running away. Look, this little knight, not even a knight, it's just a 5 of Swords. This little 5 of Swords is trying to come up against the Queen. Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, this is what Spirit wants you to know. It's like, you're the Queen or the King, it doesn't matter gender. You are the one who has the power, but you've been acting as if you don't. And you have a sword in your hand. These people might have 5 swords, but you've got a good sword there, and you've got a throne, and you've got you've got a title, you've got a leadership, you've got this energy, you've got spiritual like power, I feel like this is really a beautiful thing because you're really coming into your power, and I feel like it's going to be the resolution from this situation of you taking your power back is like you're going to be able to discern the right people moving forward, so that any of this confusion or any of this I'm not worthy, and it's just going to come to an end, because this is kind of like your evolutionary pressure to claim your worth. Because honestly, if you don't claim your power, someone else will. If you're not going to go ahead and claim your power, then someone else is going to come in and try to take it from you and try to have some of that. Because they're like, hey, there's all this unclaimed power over here. That sounds great. I'd love some of that. That's what I, there are so many people on earth who will do that. So you have to stand in your power. You have to claim your power, It's sort of like if you have this beautiful piece of like cake on a plate, and Spirit's like, go ahead and eat your cake, what a great cake there is for you there, go ahead and eat your cake, and you're just like, oh no, I couldn't eat the cake, no. And then it's like, okay, well, all these other people are going to swoop in and try to steal your cake then. They're going to go ahead and eat it behind your back, they're going to steal it from you, and they're going to be like, well, this person's not using it, why do they need that? And it's the same goes with our power, the same goes with our sense of worth. It's like, if we aren't dictating our worth, if we aren't like, yeah, you know what, I am powerful, I'm worthy, etc., then someone else will come in and gladly, do that for us and take that from you. So I see you really embodying this Queen of Swords energy. And she is just like, you know what, you can say whatever you want to me, but like, it's that thing of like, words cannot hurt me, because I feel like you're really aware now. It's like maybe it's this reading, or maybe it's been coming for a long time intuitively. You're just going to be like, wait a minute, I deserve so much better. Wait a minute. It's like you see through the illusion. You see about this person all along, what their real motives were. And you're just going to be kind of like, it's just going to make it so black and white for you. Any energy of like, yes or no, maybe, should I don't know. It's just going to be like, I know, I just know. And I think that's going to feel really powerful for you, and I think you're going to love it. So let's do a final message for you guys for group number 2, Spirit. Thank you. Oh. Bring a gentle touch, dear Spirit. I feel like this is saying that you need gentleness, that you are a gentle soul, and you need gentleness, and you need people around you who treat you with gentleness and who treat you with the preciousness that you are. And it's not that you're like fragile in a sense of like, you know, in a bad way, but it's like you're just, you know, like it's like a beautiful, like I keep getting this really beautiful energy from you. It's like you're a beautiful vase, or like I don't know how to explain it. It's like, but there's just this exquisite beauty to you, and it's like, yeah, you don't want to be dropped. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you've got this really precious vase, it's like an antique, and it's, you know, a certain kind of like material, and, you know, it costs a lot of money, and it's a really special thing, it's one of a kind. Like, you're not going to want to just like throw that vase in the corner and be like, oh, who cares? You know, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to very carefully like put it down on this thing. And this is what Spirit's kind of saying, is like, you deserve to have people who really treat you as the precious person that you are, who really treat you and like who take some time to care for you and take some time to think about like how to go about, you know. Whereas you've been around people for a long time who've been really rough with you, who've been really like disregarding of your worth, or, you know, throwing you around in a way that isn't what you need. And so Spirit's saying like, bring a gentle touch. Yeah, first and foremost, you have to set the rules for yourself. You know, you can't expect someone necessarily to treat you in a way that you aren't allowing yourself to be treated. And that's why Spirit's saying you got to receive. You got to allow yourself to receive. And part of that is allowing yourself to receive goodness, and allowing yourself to receive the kind of people, places, and things that nourish your soul. Okay? All right, that's your reading, group 2. Send you off with so much love. And yeah, I'll see you in another reading. Okay, hello. Beautiful group 3, be fearless and bold with Badger Spirit. I feel like you're allowing yourself to be seen more than you ever have before. You're allowing yourself to, okay, but you've got other people's energy in your aura. So I feel like you're taking on other people's opinions or perception of you. And I think it's maybe because you just made a big move. As in, you made a move, you made a change, you did something differently. You said no when you would usually say yes, or you did something to rock the boat, or you allowed yourself to be seen, like no one in your office knew that you read tarot, and then all of a sudden you're doing tarot readings for everyone the next day. Like, all of a sudden you're doing tarot readings for everyone in the office, and then the next day you might start to be like, oh my god, and you might start to obsess about people's perception of you because maybe no one else is spiritual in your workplace, and now all of a sudden you're going to be seen as the spiritual one, the reader, the tarot reader, the seer. Like, there's something about something that's just happened for you where you're now being a bit like, shit, everyone sees me now, or like, oh my gosh. And the thing is that Spirit's saying like, it's a beautiful thing because you've done something fearless, and you've done something aligned, and even if it's bringing up some anxiety or some sense of like, it's like a rebound reaction. You know, when you pull a rubber band and then it like bounces back, and it's like you just allowed yourself to stretch. You allowed yourself to stretch out of your zone of comfort, out of the things you would normally do. And sometimes there can be a little bit of like a bounce back where we're like, oh shit, no, you know, I wish I could take that back. No, everyone's judging me. And it's like, no, that's your paradigm speaking. That's the old version of you that is like, hey, don't change, don't blossom, don't become amazing. And Spirit's like, stop listening to that old paradigm and start recognizing how beautiful it is that you've been so fearless and bold lately. Start recognizing how powerful it is that you've been so authentic lately, and how amazing that is, and how much that's benefiting others in the world. I do see you might have some people's energy in your aura. Okay, so there might be some people who aren't as happy about this recent change of personality, or change of status, or change, essentially, of any kind. Some people might not be as celebratory of this, But Spirit's like, please don't take on their energies, because honestly, they're not looking at you clearly. It's like they're looking at you from a low vibration, and makes it all distorted. It's kind of like if you I don't know how to explain this, but if you're like, okay, so if you're at the cinema, like, don't you reckon the best seats are right at the back of the cinema? I mean, I personally love like right at the back of the cinema. Not that I've been to the cinemas in so long, but if you were there, for example, you know, there are some good seats where you can like really see the show clearly, and you know, like there's no distortion in whatever. But it's like if you're really way over to one side, then you're kind of looking at it like from some kind of weird angle. Or if you're like right at the front, you're kind of like looking up at the screen, you know what I mean? And it's like not that good of an angle. And this is what Spirit wants you to know, is like, you're this beautiful movie that's playing, and there are other people who might be giving you feedback, but it's based on their own vantage point, and they aren't necessarily seeing you fully. They aren't necessarily seeing all of you. You know, they might be really crammed into a really weird position, and they're trying to look up and it's at a weird angle, and they're like, hey, you look weird. And Spirit's like, no, it's not you. It's the way that they're looking at you. You see? What would you like group 3 to know, Spirit? I think you have some guilt, maybe, because you're like, oh man, people really wanted me to be this other thing. I don't think it's super conscious, and this is what Spirit wants you to know. Like, sometimes our thoughts start to impact our mood, even though our thoughts weren't necessarily conscious. Like, we weren't necessarily consciously like thinking like, oh gosh, you know, Mary Jane is really angry at me because I finally told everyone that I read tarot, and she thinks that tarot is for the devil or whatever. Like, there's kind of a need to be aware that you are really receptive to other people's energies, and that you can sort of scan your energy field more often and be like, oh, this, you know, this energy is actually not mine. You know, it's Mary Jane's perspective of me because she thinks that, you know, tarot is demonic. And that's why I was starting to feel ashamed of what I did yesterday, or guilty about showing that part of myself. Do you see what I mean? And it's sort of like really clarifying, like, what energy is mine and what energy am I just picking up on? Because you're very, very psychic. What would you like group 2 to know, Spirit? Group 3, sorry. Wasn't I just saying how you're very, very psychic, the High Priestess? And interesting that the High Priestess is depicted as a cat in this deck, or a cat spirit. I feel like, yeah, with Fearless and Bold, it's really this energy coming through. It's like Spirit wants you to not give a heck what other people think. And I think that's something that is, you know, I think a lot of us are meant to not care. And I think that it can be a process of unlearning, you know, what we've been conditioned to believe about things. But I also see, actually, the more that you allow yourself to be seen for the truth of who you are, and like the more that you allow yourself to be fearless and bold, and for everyone to be like, oh my god, I had no idea that, you know, you wear flowers in your hair. I love wearing flowers in my hair, like whatever. The more you kind of allow that, the more that you're going to actually attract to you the people that you genuinely connect with at a soul level. And that's going to make you feel really fulfilled, because I'm seeing like that you're really good at connecting with people a lot of the time. Even if you might not even think that about yourself, you're actually pretty good at connecting with people just like where they're at, and just like, you know, for whatever reason, you know, you can sit down and have a conversation with someone. And but Spirit's saying like, yeah, but you've kind of been settling for connection that isn't fully nourishing you. And the more that you allow yourself to be seen in like a very unique way, and we had a card fall. Wow, okay. Yeah. The more that you like allow yourself to be seen, the more that you're going to attract to you the people, places, and things that truly like light you up and make you feel really good. And you're also going to recognize that you're not as strange as you think you are. You're not as weird as you think you are. You're not as, like, you are unique, but I feel like it's almost this energy I get of someone who grows up in like a small town, and they're just like really, out there, and they love wearing interesting fashion, and they have different beliefs around spirituality, or they have different talents. And then, it's like you might form a belief about yourself that you're really, really different or really strange, and Spirit's like, yeah, but you can hear that? No. But Spirit's saying, imagine if you then move from that small town to like some big city, and then all of a sudden you find like 5 people around who all are interested in this very niche like thing, like light language or something. And all of a sudden you meet all these people who channel light language, who are interested, and you're like, what the heck? I thought that was like just me, because in my town it's just been me. But now you move to a different space, and this is what Spirit's saying. It's like, even if that move isn't happening literally, it is happening energetically, where you're able to therefore magnetize to you the people that are really like it's like, it's more just like so you can have fun with them, so you can enjoy it, so you can like enjoy this life basically. And really with Dragonfly as well, it's like not feeling like you have to hide yourself anymore, not feeling like you have to silence yourself, or like, oh, I shouldn't say that, it's a bit too weird, or something like that. Like, I just see you being able to like let your freak flag fly, so to speak, in a group, and it feels really good. Oh my god, that noise is so unfortunate. Should we take a break? I don't know. Spirit, what else would you like group 3 to know? Are you serious? Back of the deck is the Empress. And then the 2 cards we have is the Queen of Cups and the Star. So Spirit just needs to like gas you up a little bit right now. Spirit's like, have you been forgetting how amazing you are? Have you been forgetting how incredible you are? Spirit's like, come on, remember. Look, Spirit is like kind of encouraging you to develop a little bit. And you know what? We're in Leo season as we're filming this, but Spirit's kind of encouraging you to become a little bit more like a cat. Like, have you... It's sort of an interesting message, because recently my partner and I have been joking about how our cat is a narcissist, and how like most cats are narcs, and it's sort of just funny because of the personality of cats and stuff. But Spirit's kind of saying to embody a little bit more of that energy of like self-appreciation and self-worthiness, and almost like being like, yeah, I know that I'm like worthy of, this incredible life and these incredible things, and just like receiving yourself in a different way. Because I feel like sometimes you can get sort of a bit lost in like other people's perception of you, especially with the Queen of Cups, which means that you're very empathic and loving and kind and heart-based and stuff. And Spirit's kind of saying like, you can get a little bit lost in like other people's energy. You might not even realize that it's other people's energy and other people's perception of you and stuff. And it can kind of like put you a little bit off center. It can make you a bit like off center. But Spirit's saying, Spirit would like you to really anchor into Spirit's perspective of you with the Star, which is just such a beautiful energy, and that's what you really are, and that's the truth of who you are. And Spirit's like, It doesn't really matter what's going on outside here with all these different people like looking in. It's about like how you see yourself. You know what I mean? It's like what do you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror? Are you able to say I love you? Are you able to look into your eyes, and are you able to witness your beauty? Are you able to appreciate yourself? Are you able to approve of yourself even if no one else can? And Spirit is sort of asking you to continually come home to this perception of yourself where you are the star, where you are seeing yourself through the eyes of the divine is what Spirit wants you to do. See yourself through the eyes of the divine. Because you've been looking at yourself through the eyes of like these little low vibrational gremlins, and Spirit's like, nah. All right, group 3. Let's do an affirmation card for you. Just one thing, Spirit. Interesting. I take a nice deep breath and release all resistance to healing. Let's do it together. I listen with love to my body's messages. Listen with love to my body's messages. I tukolo takai and tukolo shetake tolo bua takateke tenemos shetokolo. I'm going to clarify. I feel like I'm so slow today. Guys, usually my readings are like and today I'm just like woohoo. King of Cups. Okay, yeah, so it's the empath thing again. Oh my god. Energetic boundaries. Energetic boundaries is what Spirit wants for you. Okay, yeah, because what Spirit's saying with the I listen with love to my body's messages is like you might even take on physical pain from other people. This is the level of empath that Spirit's showing you. Oh my god, and we have the King and the Queen of Cups together. This is amazing. From this, I'm really getting this energy of you have so much power within you, especially to do with the emotional landscape, which is really unusual on Earth because even really advanced souls pretty much always have trouble with the emotional side of Earth because it's just really unique. Like the emotions, I don't even know if you can really prepare for it or like train for it on other planets or other places of existence. Probably there's something similar maybe, but basically Spirit's like, yeah, you have this amazing gift to do with your emotions, to do with being able to read emotion in other people and also being able to basically experience like you're very sensitive and you're very empathic, and sometimes you're actually taking on the perception of others, the belief of others, the pain of other people, and you're therefore like processing it yourself. And Spirit's saying that you do this to such a extreme extent that you don't even notice that you're doing it anymore. And Spirit's saying that you often will just take on this energy and think that it's your own energy, and that a lot of the time it's not your own energy, because your own energy is actually really pure with the star. You know, you're actually really high frequency human. I just heard hybrid. What? I think it's just saying you're very, very much a starseed. You might have galactic DNA or something, cosmic DNA in you. Wow. And Spirit's saying like a lot of this confusion or the suffering or challenge on Earth is really for you is really to be able to distinguish between like what's my message from my body about something and what is like what is like someone else's energy entirely that I really don't need to take on. And I think the key for you is like developing really strong energetic boundaries, so you walk around the world and you feel completely able to be fearless and bold in the complete, unique expression of yourself and your soul on this earth, but not feeling weighed down by other people's like hate or jealousy or resentment or judgment or disapproval. So it's like you're really able to approve of yourself. And you're a healer. You're really here to be a healer. And I think a lot of you guys are already completely excelling in that area. Even if you're not officially doing it, you are doing it through your presence. But Spirit's also saying that some people do not deserve your healing gifts because they aren't choosing to heal for themselves. They are really just wanting to offload emotional density onto you for you to carry it away from them. And Spirit's saying this is inappropriate and this is not to be carried forward. Okay, so if you have this awareness now, you can start to like really scan your energy body and be like, you know what, this back pain that I have right here in this part of my back, this is actually someone sending me energy that's backstabbing me, or whatever. Like Spirit's saying, listen with love to your body's messages, because they're telling you something, but a lot of the time you just take it on as like, oh man, my back's hurting again because it's my fault, because I haven't done this thing, or because I'm not good at this thing. And you just take so much responsibility for every little sensation and even every thought that's coming in. And Spirit's saying a lot of the thoughts are not yours, a lot of the emotion isn't yours, a lot of the physical sensation or physical pain is not yours. And that might surprise you quite profoundly, but Spirit is saying, if you honestly do a return to sender, return the energy to sender, or you can return to source. Return to sender isn't necessarily mean, as in, because most of the time people need their energy to deal with it for themselves so they can grow and evolve, and it doesn't help them for someone else to try to take it on and process it for them. Like, that's not really what healing is. Healing is often guiding someone back to their own innate healing ability. And that includes working with all the shit that they're here to work with, So Spirit wants you to know that honestly, if you got rid of the energetic influence from other people in this world, and it's not that you ever get rid of it 100%, but it's like if you have really different boundaries and that changes how you experience the world, then you're going to have a totally different experience of Earth, and your role here is going to make so much more sense, and your mission is going to become way more clear, and your ability to heal others is going to take off. Because meanwhile, if you're spending all this time and energy processing the emotion and the pain and the trauma of other people, when it's inappropriate to do that, like it's really for them to process for themselves, then it's going to make life on Earth seem a lot harder than it has to be. Yeah. Spirit, what else would you like Group 3 to know? What's some good news coming in for them? Nice. This is the same thing. Show the world the real you. We had full moons for every pile. Show the world the real you. Be fearless and bold. I mean, what more can I say? Spirit's saying you are such a beautiful person. You have so much to offer this world, not only through your healing gifts, but really just for who you are, your personality, your unique charm, the way that you shine your soul light, the way you sing your soul song is beautiful, and the world deserves to see this. And just because some people can't, it's just like a great work of art. There are some people who are going to look at a great work of art and be like, oh, it's nothing. But it's like, if it's brought so much joy and so much reverence to like millions of other people, then who cares if one other person can't see it? Do you know what I mean? But it's like where you're at right now is like, if there are millions of people celebrating you, but there's one person who's naysaying and who's like, I don't get it, they're not talented, it's nothing. And you're just like only listening, you're like on the phone just to that one person all the time. You're like, oh man, yeah. keep telling me that I'm like terrible and not good at anything and da da da. It's like Spirit's like, please. If you just tune in to a different frequency, if you tune into a different radio station, it's going to tell you a completely different story. You see what I mean? Show the world the real you. And this full moon, yeah. Things are being illuminated. Okay, and this is a timeless reading, but at the time that I'm filming this, we're about to have a full moon in Aquarius in a couple of days. So, let's ask about that. It seems like there's something that's about to like pop up for you just around the corner or something. Okay, express yourself through creative activities. Okay. It seems like Spirit is like, yeah, go get out there into the world, like show the world your talent, show the world your art, show the world your gifts, show the world your voice. Let them hear you, let them see you, let them celebrate you, let them receive the gift of who you are. And I feel you've had this calling for a long time, and I feel like it might even be to do with starting a business of some kind. And I feel as well that you're going to be way more successful than you even think. It's so funny, but people are going to be really, as in it's funny because you have so underestimated yourself, to be quite honest. And the frequency that you put out is so magnetic, and it's so lovable, and it's so unique, and it's so aligned to the truth of who you are that Spirit's like, come on, how could everyone in this whole world not celebrate you? Even if it's just their higher selves who are celebrating for a while. Yeah. And even if you have like, you know, like Mary Jane at your workplace being like, oh man, you know, I hated it when you did tarot the other day. Maybe Mary Jane's higher self is like really cheering you on. You know what I mean? Because Mary Jane might just be playing a role for some other people in that workplace who are like, oh, is it safe to celebrate this? Because Mary Jane's judging it. And that means that, yes, I caught it before it fell. Queen of Swords. This came out for another group. Let's go, I'm just going to clarify. But like, sometimes we can get so fooled by the illusions on this physical reality when the reality is that everyone's higher self is like literally applauding you, and they're like, you're amazing. And just because their like human self is in whatever state of being that their human self is in, you know, there's so much more going on. That's why Spirit's perspective is often Spirit's perspective is always the one that brings us the most soothing, you know, the most like comfort, and like, of course, yes. It really sets it all into, it really like, it's, what is the word? Like, it's a big picture. You got to look at the big picture of things. And like, even if, you know, no one could celebrate you showing your tarot skills, for example, at that workplace, maybe you planted a lot of seeds. And maybe the next time someone shows someone else tarot, that they'll be more open to it, and they'll be more able to think, maybe I have intuitive gifts as well, you know. Queen of Swords, let's see. It's interesting because there seems to be cards coming in from the other groups into this one, so I got really bizarre. I just got a message from looking out the window. There was some man walking past on the street, and he wore like a really long coat, and there was just something about how big and oversized his coat was. It looked like it was too big for him or something. And Spirit's saying that you're still trying to hide something. Like, I just, for some reason, the message of this guy in his coat, like, it was like, you're still trying to hide something. And Spirit is really saying, like, hey, show the world the real you, because you might think that it's going to only go badly because you've only ever met Mary Janes of the world who are like, oh my gosh. And Mary Jane's such a beautiful name, but you know, you've only ever met like Mary Janes of the world who are like, oh my god, Tara's demonic, and you're channeling demons, and you're evil, and da da da. But it's like, there's so many other people of the world. Do you know what I mean? And there's sort of this like, it's like, don't betray yourself, you know, or even betray your soul family, because imagine if you it's sort of like, imagine walking around the world wearing this coat that obscures who you really are. You know, it's like an invisibility cloak. Imagine if you could just take that off and allow the world to actually see you. And even if there were some people who didn't approve, who the fuck cares? Because you're going to pull to your heart. Like, your heart space will magnetize those people to you who are truly for you and who truly like will make you feel like life is so worth living. And with the Queen of Swords, Spirit wants you to essentially trust in your ability to put up boundaries. Trust in your ability to not take on energy that you don't need to take on. Trust in your ability to have energetic discernment where it doesn't need to bother you so much as like how things used to, essentially. And with the Fool as well, it's interesting. The Fool is, again, talking about this really big new beginning. And well, actually, I don't even know how much we've... I see a lot changing for you in your world, particularly to do with something to do with your mission, like aligning to something for your mission. I'm gonna have to pull a card on that. Can you clarify the Fool and the Three of Wands? Thanks, Spirit. A time to give rather than take. Interesting. This is a really interesting perspective. Yeah, so with show the world the real you and a time to give rather than take, Spirit is like, okay, so this is the new beginning coming in for you. Spirit is like, hey, you actually have to get out of your own way so that you can be of service to others. Of course. The message is clear. It's like there's this new beginning coming in for you with this new moon energy and the Fool. And the new beginning is that Spirit needs you to step up into your position of leadership, whether you feel ready to or not, whether you feel like there are people who will celebrate you or not, because what you have to offer will help others. It's going to help others. You're going to give service. You're going to be of service in a very spiritual way. It's almost like you're going to be a vessel for the divine. You are a vessel for the divine to heal on this earth. And it's sort of like Spirit saying, as you enter into this new way of being where you're showing the world the real you, be very careful that you don't just like take Mary Jane's perspective on board too much to the point where you try to, put that invisibility cloak back on. Because it's sort of Spirit saying, if you walk into a room and you show yourself and there's like one person in that room who doesn't like it or who is jealous or who disapproves, but there's 25 other people in that room who are like celebrating, who are like, thank you so much for doing this, it helped me so much. Like, that's the people you have to focus on. That's the energy you have to focus on. And it's just true on earth at this time. And it's kind of like the duality of like the good versus evil, is that like it's so easy to focus on the negative. It's so easy to focus on the people who don't approve. It's so easy to focus on the people who are disrespectful or who are, violating your boundaries. But it's like there is equally and more. There's more people who celebrate you. There's more people who talk positive about you. There's more people who are grateful for you. You see what I mean? And so Spirit's sort of saying, like, you need to get that ego stuff out of the way and just anchor into, how am I being of service? And not worry so much like, oh, what if, I didn't look perfect on that photo, or what if, I made one little mistake here, or what if one person leaves a negative review of my shop? It's like, yeah, but if you are being of service and you're being really aligned to the divine and helping, then it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter, because you have to focus on who you're helping, because otherwise you're going to let the darkness win. You're going to let the evil win. And that is not happening on your watch, I can tell. All right, let's pull you one card to finish with, group 3. Things are changing for you, but it's more like things are coming into balance. Spirit's saying this is really, you've earned this, you've earned this. So like, allow yourself to be celebrated even. Oh, yeah. Medicine woman, you're a channel for divine healing power. Didn't I say you're a healer and the world needs you? Go out there and shine that light, okay? You're a star. Alright, and you know what? You're gonna get way better feedback than you might even think, or that you, again, we always have the ability to focus. Okay, we can focus on that one negative comment and we can focus on the 25 positive ones. You know what I'm saying? Alright, group 3. Well, I send you off with so much love from my heart to yours, and I'll see you next time.